walk together. In a time of crisis or in a time of peace, this is a story of 8 billion beating hearts. We share this one fragile planet, the air we breathe, the land we walk on, and the oceans we swim in. Imagine borders that surround us, some more fortified than others. Borders for many of us define our lives today. For global capital and those with the right passports, borders are easy. For the global masses, these borders tell us where we can and cannot go. For the world's 2 billion Muslims, 1 out of every 4 people on this earth, our lives are interconnected by the diaspora of our hearts, of our families, and a spiritual lineage that stretches back 14 centuries. But we are only told stories that put us in boxes to police our identities. What if the full story was told about our faith, about our lives, about our cultures, the story of our love for humanity, and our stories as protectors of the world? This is for the future builders, the dreamers, those who want to escape from the futility of generations past, destroying our shared world. Media has been built to divide us. We ask, what if it was built to connect? This is a manifesto written across screens. We need you. Beyond languages, beyond cultures, beyond faiths, beyond all barriers and borders, we need each other. This is for all of us.
Assalamu alaikum. Peace and greetings throughout the universe. My name is Dustin Cron. I'm the founder of the Center for Global Muslim Life, and we're here at the Global Muslim Film Festival. Really a blessing to have you all with us. We have a really amazing program today talking about Khabib Nurmagomedov and his amazing journey and a personal story that you don't see on television with the director of this film, Will Harris, the Dagestan Chronicles, part of his series, The Anatomy of a Fighter. And we also have with us Baraka Blue, who will be doing the interview. We wanted just a couple of quick housekeeping items. Number one is a big shout out to our sponsors and Penny Appeal USA and Penny Appeal UK for supporting this event. Everyone, please support Penny Appeal and all the amazing humanitarian work that they're doing around the world. We also have our community sponsors, which are the American Muslim Community Foundation and the San Diego Latino Film Festival, for supporting us building this important festival where we're telling beautiful stories of Muslims around the world. And of course, we want to give a shout out to everyone struggling and in the streets here in the United States. I wore my Black Panther shirt just to say love and respect and unity is so important. And this film festival foundationally is about challenging white supremacy and racism in our world by showing beautiful stories about our communities. And so yeah, love and respect. And of course, as we did yesterday, we want to do a land recognition. We're here in San Diego, California, for the Kumeyaay tribe. Any of us who live in North America, these are not lands that were taken properly, and we have to respect that and honor that. And so with that, we'll go into the film right now. And this is, the film is about 35 minutes, and then we'll go directly after the film into the conversation. Assalamu alaikum. Peace.
No, I think George St. Pierre is the greatest athlete who ever competed in UFC. He is real champ inside the cage, outside the cage, and just interesting about competition. I want to compete with this guy. I respect him. I met him one time in Moscow. Couple days we stayed together, and he's very good guy, very respectful guy, and I respect him. But this is not about, oh, I didn't respect this guy, I don't like this guy, that's why I want to fight with him. No, this is about legacy. Everybody wants a legacy. He is greatest athlete in UFC, greatest champion, and I want to fight with him. I want to take all legacy, That's why. Me versus Conor, it's more media, more magnified, like pay-per-view sale. But me versus just GSP is pay-per-view fight too. But like about me versus Conor, okay, I'm going to take him down and beat him end of the first round. What people gonna say? They're gonna say, okay, if they fight stand-up, Conor gonna beat him. Of course, everybody know Khabib's wrestling level is different than Conor. Okay, I fight versus George St. Pierre. What are they gonna say? They're gonna just wait. Okay, we don't know. Nobody knows.
Я хочу соперников. Конор, Тони Фергюсон, Джон Сен-Пьер и чемпион 77. И на этом, я думаю, достаточно доказать миру, что он боец экстра-класс.
Crazy. Fasting is not easy. 17 hours. No drink, no eat, nothing. It's like you cut weight. Hey. Sometimes I miss my young age, you know, when I was young. Same city, same friends, same place, nothing changed. Only one thing changed. I become UFC lightweight champion, and that's it. Что, заходим, да?
Аллаху Акбар. Аллаху лиман хамида. Аллаху Акбар.
What's up? My name is Georg. I'm friends this guy, best lightweight fighter in the world.
Everybody friendly. Never fight each other. With other mafia. Кому деньги дать?
Нет, ты купи сюда, пожалуйста.
А нет, цветы зачем? Я тебе просто так деньги дам.
Давайте.
Цветы зачем? Нет, цветы зачем?
Хорошо, давайте мы разделим на толпу.
И в Инстаграм закинь, да. He say, hey, Khabib, I control this everything here. You have to give me money. He said this. Small guy, it's very small guy. I tell him, what you control? Like about parking, like everything. And he's like 10 years old. His ears like smashed like crazy, you know. Like he looked like he training. He wrestling like last 20 years. You know. He said, please, you have to give me money because I control everything. Now you come here, you park your car, you have to pay me money. I go crazy with him. I laugh like crazy. I say, okay, how much I have to give? It's like $10, you know. I say, you're too expensive. You have to come down, like maybe $5, $6. Like $10 too much for you. He say, hey, my mother is sick. You have to pay me. I say, okay, I'm gonna pay you. It's crazy. Dagestan life, brother. Dagestan life.
Вот возьми, вот так возьми. Давай.
Дай нормальный язык. Дай нормальный язык. Шея расслабься. Бля, тихо так давали, уйди да.
Today is Ramadan, still Ramadan day, you know. Today we're fasting, so now it's like 5 p.m. almost, and after 2.5 hours we're gonna eat. We can eat, and today is Sunday too, you know. We come here, it's like almost like 10 people racing each other, you know, and it's very important. Stay ready, stay in shape, you know, because anytime UFC can call me and say, hey, you're gonna fight 2 months, 3 months, and that's why I have to stay ready.
Мы берем пример с него, да, с нашего зала. В нашем зале не только мы, я думаю, все бойцы по всему миру. Так как он самый лучший боец на сегодняшний день в своей весовой категории.
I feel I have energy, I feel I have to improve something, and that's why we come here. We sent message each other, hey, let's go tomorrow, 3 p.m. We have to train everybody. And some people say, hey, I'm tired, today is Sunday, today is race day, but some people say, okay, we're gonna come because somebody have fight after 1 month, somebody have fight after 1.5 months, and you know, that's why everybody have to train. If you have fight, please come gym and train, and only hard work, you know. We have only one way, hard work. Colby versus Thailand is gonna be interesting fight because it's gonna be big trash talking before the fight. You know? Only that's why. But I think Kamaru is more tougher than Colby. You know, like his power, his wrestling, hard punch, you know.
ونقلب أفئدتهم وأبصارهم كما لم يؤمنوا به أول
مرة. محمد وانت يا زبوب ها؟
Вилла, мы здоровались.
Автобусный, брат. Тоже мага, короче.
Да, мага, да? Черный мага, да?
Как вы глушите? Так, что, спасибо. Да, вот сейчас. А может туда?
Ты не защищен здесь, ты это понимаешь.
You live 20 miles away from me. We got mutual friends. If it's beef, we can do that. You know that.
Если мы можем говорить, между нами 20 майлов, мы можем решить любые проблемы. У нас между нами 20 майлов. Мы можем встретиться где-то там без никого. Khabib City. Here's our friend Muhammad. We come here for make iftar like yesterday. Today we all day training, do our job. Now after 15 minutes we're gonna go to eat, drink, relax, talk, you know, like enjoy with friends.
Сейчас на Россию подписал после Рамадана сразу Кисловодский.
Да, с Ажидом разговаривал. Что, брат, мне если бабки не дают, что нам здесь? He say this restaurant have to pay for us for promote this. You understand?
За все его качества можно его уважать, за то, что у него есть все при нем есть, и человек и в исламе, и уважительно относится к старшим, к младшим. Ну, я считаю, это пример для молодежи, для любого подрастающего поколения. Один из примеров — это Хабиб Нурмагомедов. И очень сильно его уважаю. Люблю как младшего брата.
Здесь что ли? Да, здесь его порвали бы как кусик тряпки.
Прямо.
الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين.
Now we come to my uncle's house, eating before we start fasting. You understand? And let's go inside.
My friend, salam alaikum. How are you?
This one is like humble eating. You understand? Not too much. My uncle is first master of sport freestyle wrestling in my village. You look like athlete? No?
You have the same head.
What's good? Adna gawa. Cover.
Who's Russia's first match on?
Saudi Arabia.
How do you like their chances?
I think they can beat them. But I think they can beat Egypt, Saudi, but with Uruguay is gonna be a tough match.
Возмутина жесть, не пойму я просто. Как тут бадный. Чикен, скажи, чикен, скажи, Макгрегор. Макгрегор, чикен, скажи.
Abi bu çocuk diyor sana. Olsun. Ha, vücut geçiyor. Abi var.
La ilahe illallah. Eşhedü enne Muhammeden Resulullah. Hayya ala salati, hayya alel felah. قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
ألم تكن آياتي تتلى عليكم فكنتم بها تكذبون قالوا ربنا غلبت علينا شقوتنا وكنا قوما ضالين ربنا أخرجنا منها فإن عدنا فإنا ظالمون قال اخسئوا فيها ولا تكلمون إنه كان فريق من عبادي يقولون ربنا آمنا فاغفر لنا وارحمنا وأنت خير الراحمين.
This is my village house, man. Village house.
So tomorrow, what are we gonna see?
We're gonna see where I'm born, where I go to school, first like how I born, how I living first almost 13 years, and where I'm training. You know, like I think it's gonna be interesting. I'm gonna show you my grandfather and introduce with my grandfather, but he doesn't speak English, little bit Russian, and he speak only Dagestan, like our language. But I'm gonna translate you. Don't worry. Today was very hard day. It's like we training, going different city with our friend, make iftar, eat together, and we come to my village, pray together, and now time to sleep, brother. Boom. Эй, вы пешком приходите, да? Алло. 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 Now we're going to my grandfather's house. Мы сейчас идем к дедушке домой. Живет дядя, с младшим дядей. У нас такие традиции, когда в семье много детей, особенно сыновей, самый младший остается жить с родителями, и ему остается и дом, и все. This one is my uncle's house. This one is with this guy. He read Quran all the time. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam.
Yeah. شو باقي امريكا صوت
شو ولا
عندي سيستر الخنوقي عندي سيستر الخنوقي
ايه عمر شيبو بلاجيني ودولا شو واجا تكون واجا اه شيبو لك السلام عليكم
يا لك
يا
شيبو تسمع
شيبو كل خالي عندنا قران يتصلون على عندنا عدوق ويشم بركاته وكل شيء
شيبو состояние شيبو
يا
состояние شيبو
состояние كلها وايد هيجوا صوبو تيكو
I feeling good. You wanna sleep? I remember we all the time come from here running and sprint here 10 times and go back to running. It's take like maybe 25-30 minutes every day before I go to school. I do this training. Running here, sprint to this mountain and go back home. Drills home, wrestling drills, little bit lifting, and go to the school. It's my like every day I do this, every day, every morning. And all the time when I come to village, I train here. All the time come here, running around, come and do sprints. Постоянно, когда у меня будет свободное время, я стараюсь приехать сюда, чуть-чуть, так скажем, отвлечься от городской суеты и побыть дома, побыть, как говорится, в родном для себя месте, где я родился и вырос. И такое место, когда есть, оно очень успокаивает. Я думаю, многие люди согласятся со мной, что человек, где родился и вырос, туда его тянет. Где бы он ни бывал, когда бы он ни бывал, любое время дня и ночи, всегда, когда он думает о родном месте, всегда его туда тянет, хочется там побыть.
62 года всего, как этот Кироваул, как населенный пункт формировался. Ну, первые жители, это считай, первый, второй, третий, ну, вот так вот переехали. Ну, последние, вообще население развивается не за счет переселенцев, а за счет рождаемости. И на сегодняшний день в этом населенном пункте проживает около 3000 общее население, дети, взрослые. Ну, из взрослого населения 1600 человек. Вот на сегодняшний день проживает в селе. В этом населенном пункте 68 мастеров спорта по разным видам спорта. Из них 12 мастеров спорта международного класса, 2 заслуженных мастеров спорта. По своей уникальности вот этот караул можно внести в книгу рекордов Гиннесса, потому что
Hey, salam alaikum. Brother, where is going tank, brother?
Он шадит.
No. Yeah, yes, да? Поехали. Let's go. This is how we're living, brother. Мое детство прошло вот здесь, купаясь. И как все детство наших, моих ровесников, да, мы здесь, это сделали новый шлюз. Раньше не такие были, раньше чуть-чуть другое было. Это вот в этом году открыли новый шлюз. А так здесь чуть по-другому было. Вот купаясь на этой речке, она очень глубокая. И если ты плавать не умел, ты мог здесь утонуть. Так что вот здесь мы учились плавать в экстремальных таких. Давайте, салам алейкум. Давайте.
Tamam. Все поменялось. La foto no только делали голи. Все что, возвращайте.
Там здесь вещи, которые хватает. Туда прыгали под мостом стояли. You know how we learn, like by myself, by other guys self. Like if you wanna learn swimming, you have to go inside. You know, sometimes you can almost die, but you have to learn. You know, but a lot of kids die here too. You know, a lot of kids, maybe 6, 7 guys from my age, they die here too. You know, and that's why, like all parents say, please don't let your kids going to here in swimming, but everybody come here and try to swim.
С детства, конечно, да, я учил его каждому там, каждый его бой, везде присутствовал, везде там секундировал его, не было его из первых боев, где я находился в его углу. Сейчас все поменялось. Вот в последних боях я готовлюсь, он мне показывает. Он настолько вырос.
Значит, надо просто это понимать.
Я его упрекаю в том, что мы после Америки, он ни разу меня не вспомнил, ни разу не написал. Он мне спрашивает, а почему ты не написал? Я ему говорю, знаешь почему? Потому что я старше.
Yes, Subakan from Chechnya here for wrestling with me. He have 30 June, he have a competition, like grappling match, and he wanna be ready. I tell him, hey, come here. If you wanna be ready for grappling match, you have to come here, beat me. If you can beat me, you can beat anybody.
А, 4-2.
Сюда зайди. Камеру выпил, пацан. Камеру хорошо работает. Он работает конкретно. محمد السوق تسع سوق
Because he champion UFC, today he win. Если ничья, пояс остается у чемпиона, правильно? Правильно же? Respect. Нормально. Just listen, I just give him. Я же тебя не мочаю.
He running just like training. I'm 2 hours training. After my 2 hours training, he coming, taking down me.
We just running or how we play? It's crazy game. You are
Just
doing
like,
Yes.
it's like crazy game. Hey,
I've never played nothing like
he
that.
cannot talk about like any different language because he know only Chechen language. Even Russian, he don't know how to speak the Russian language. How you
Hey,
gonna
joking.
speak with
Hey, joking. My English now is fine.
Hey.
It's good. This is my #1 fan in Dagestan. After Khabib.
Khabib всегда живет здесь. И всегда будет, он всегда тренируется. Кто он поиграет, а он выиграет всегда. И Khabib всегда тренируется. Домой и на тренировках он идет. И там и он здесь будет всегда. Он порвет он его и все.
Hard work, brother. Hard work. Only hard work.
My name is Zaur Kurbanov, and I am an author of the Khabib's book, which named Khabib Time. Хабиба в основном знают как Хабиба бойца, но о Хабибе, о ребенке, о Хабибе сыне, о Хабибе друге, знает мало кто, потому что это был период его жизни, когда он был абсолютно никому не известен. Это Хабиб Нурмагомедов был одним из сотен тысяч маленьких ребятишек, которые бегали по улицам городов и сел этой республики и этой страны.
Сколько месяцев назад ты не умел читать еще? Полгода назад?
Не, где-то 3 месяца назад.
4. He just beginning with Quran like 4 months ago. Now we're gonna check him. Давай, мы сейчас будем тебя проверять, как ты Коран читаешь. Только знаю, что у тебя камера снимает. Давай, пошел.
Бисмиллахир-рахманир-рахим. Инна а'тойнакал каусар. Фасалли лираббика ванхар. Инна шани'ака хувал абтар.
Конечно, в книге я уделил очень много внимания его детству, его жизни в Кировауле, его жизни здесь, в Махачкале, его первым тренировкам, его сложностям и трудностям, дракам, разборкам, пересудам каким-то, его учебе, его отношению к учебе, его отношению с наставниками и учителями. Это то, о чем весь мир еще не знает. Весь мир знает, еще раз, Хабиба бойца. Мы же в книге очень много пишем о Хабибе человеке, о Хабибе мыслителе.
После операции ему не надо. Магана маленький, пускай разминку делает. Не, у нас есть 4-5 на 5 много будет.
Да. Все окей, середина.
Отношения Хабиба Нурмагомедова и его отца, вернее, отношения отца Абдулманапа Нурмагомедова и сына,
Хабиба Нурмагомедова очень интересны. Например, я, проведя очень много времени в компании с Абдулманапом, делая интервью перед книгой, я задал ему один вопрос. Абдулманап, Хабиб для вас больше сын или воспитанник? Сын или спортсмен, которого вы тренируете? Абдулманап мне сказал, когда он у меня дома, он мой сын. Когда он находится в спортивном режиме, он спортсмен.
Сегодня у нас Ураза Байрам, один из самых великих праздников, да? Мусульман, все мусульмане мира со всего света празднуют этот праздник, и мы в том числе. Это праздник для нас особенный. И, например, я помню, как я в детстве на этот праздник собирал пакетами, да, ходили, собирали, это у нас такие традиции. Сегодня мы вам покажем, что как на улице тоже собирают дети. Ходим в гости, у всех двери открыты, и у всех столы накрыты. Так что это такой праздник. Целый день ходим друг к другу в гости и кушаем.
Поздравляю всех мусульман с праздником Ураза Байрам. Желаю, чтобы Аллах принял ваши дуа. Всем с праздником. Спасибо.
Да, примет Аллах от вас и от нас.
Brother, why everybody so nervous, brother? When you come with camera, everything you come with gun, you know. Brother, they say now I'm translator, brother. Not cheap like you, brother. Very expensive. Let's go. I'm gonna translate it.
У нас ураза праздник.
Why you come? Why you change this? Why you change clothes? Come here, like, well, it's great. Давай. Что-нибудь хоть скажи. Ассаламу алейкум. Эй, Türk Arlo. Ассаламу алейкум. Вы кидали, пакеты кидали. Кто что собрал? Покажите, кто что собрал. Вы кидали, смотри. Look these guys, brother. Look these guys. They going like. He say this is his third bag. Like 9 is now is like what time is it right now? 9 a.m. Look. Chawala packet forward.
Yeah.
These guys only the second bag. This guy have one. This one is the third bag.
You said that Jimmy?
Yes, his name is Jimmy. Alhamdulillah. Everybody's shy, brother.
Ali Kinasi.
Ana.
This guy my big brother.
Really?
Yes. Real brother, yes. Mother, father, say.
No camera.
He don't like camera, brother. Мукиу апсати, где ты? Выхвачивайся, я вот выехал, они все хреново, давай. Barn. You know barn? Barn. This one was like before our barn. We have is like inside. Cow inside. Look.
7 cow.
This guy number one bullshit my cousin, brother. This guy. Look this guy, brother. Michael Jackson, brother. Look this guy here, brother. А вот окей, говорю, я честно, тут стиль, простой стиль, расскажи ему что-нибудь. Ask him about yesterday. Расскажи, что вчера было.
Вчера, если честно, выиграл. Вчера он выиграл. Повезло ему.
Very good, very good.
Look this guys. Look this guy t-shirt.
Assalamu alaikum.
Аллаху Акбар. How you этот, как жизнь? Еле. How you Шимаврому? How you это что? Что?
How are you? Как дела?
А, как дела, да?
Where we at, Khabib?
We're in my aunt's house. No camera.
Потому что мусульманский праздник такой, что мы друг другу посещают, угощают, празднуем Ид Мубарак. Поэтому так, сегодняшний день это даже, можно так сказать, обязательно. Такое, чтобы где мы часто не бываем, но сегодня должны посещать всех почти.
Да? Что дала дальше?
Brother, now, brother, you're in trouble. You understand?
It's okay. That's okay. You can ask me anything.
Talk about holiday.
It's very nice. It's holiday for us. It's a very big day for us. We're gonna celebrate this day. So as you see, you're gonna have fun. You're gonna enjoy.
Pretty baby. Maria.
Maria, это Maria. She's named Mariam. She's named Maria. Você пиши, давай, завещание пиши. И всегда спорили, гол зашел или нет, потому что там ворот не было, там только камни были. И непонятно было, штанга была или гол зашел. Так что приходилось спорить. Да. Так как мы были в одной команде, мы могли и спорить, и играть. Да. На язык тоже не слабые были, как и на ногах.
И да, и бесспорно, несомненно, конечно, лучше были.
Помнишь, я тебе показывал шлюз, где мы купались? Там самый сильный купаться был вот он, Нажмудин. Что там? Нажмудин был самый сильный. Когда бы туда не зашел, он всегда там был. Шлюзак. This guy a little bit crazy, brother. He can swimming all day, brother. Look this guy. Дуй. Нормально чего? Спец паскуда. А, где коды? Птица баком. Кто снимает? You know this guy? This guy, brother. This guy. Let's go. Assalamu alaikum. Hemen sushi bu. It's a khalas. Eno jugi thora wa choda kamera jan klase kino kamera se zabra khatuma ki se zabra adil koro. America bits. Ne, русский отвечу. He say I don't know English. He think you ask him about English.
Когда бои, как тебе сказать?
Как я говорю. His wife asked me why. She go crazy with him.
В нашем селе, когда у Хабиба бой, не то что мужчины, люди, маленькие дети ночью и днем не спят. Ждут, когда у него будет бой. Переживают за ним. Беспокоит. и дуа все делают. Молится за него. Лично я сама все время за него молюсь и дуа делаю.
Америка любит, да, Хабиба тоже? Как в Дагестане. Что сказал? Большое спасибо за то, что пришли.
Cake, brother, cake, but I cannot. Too much today. Today is too much, brother. Hey, now we go my aunt's house, brother. Дядька, на связи. Алейкум салам ва рахматуллах. Шибо, бикя пакет. Да, чожу груша чу дуранжани. Туахна yo, чамла пакет. Я блю чва, тавале. Дур чамла. Я блю. They already changed back, brother. Assalamu alaikum. Durrahman. Ma bache ko. Kyu karo? This guy. How feel that? I'm a shimish. This guy, look this guy, brother. Look this fish. You understand? This guy my cousin. Tsashibota. To camera tik bawa abe turpsa. To bawa hele. Amir Khan or Abu Bakr, his name. Tobat sebebi kila machine le. It's very hard here. Come here. Look. Tomato. They're living like this, brother. Just sell tomato, make money. Now you understand? Only hard work, brother, everywhere.
Hey.
Vicky, da boss paket, lewa. Da boss paket, Vicky. Shaibo adidaha. Kinki rukhja Vicky. Shaibo adidaha. Yeah. They say they already changed. This is like second or third bag. You like this day?
Yeah, man.
Everybody very friendly, talk, going home each other, eating. It's a real holiday, brother. Real holiday. Let's go. Fajani. Bakhetasa football pasho ajmani. Pasho. Давай pasho akholo. Pasho. Смотри. Look. This guy can do this 100 times. Look this guy. That is different. Pasho sale. Рядом. Давай рядом. Пошли, Pasho.
Чисто.
Адам, Хабиб, Адам. Держи.
عايز يدخل له واحد
I'm gonna show you, brother, how we swimming. I know this river like I know my 5 fingers. It's not easy swimming here because it's coldest river in Dagestan. This river is coldest river, and
You have to be a strong swimmer, huh?
yeah. And mental too, brother. Woo! 100,000 or belt, 100%. I'm gonna take belt. Why? I'm not coming here for money. I have water, bread. I don't need nothing. I'm mountain guy. Everything is good. I need only this crazy belt. You know, like if you cannot beat anyone in this division, like Max Holloway, Quinta, or Tony Ferguson, you know, like you make weight, you already do very good training camp, you ready, and now if you're gonna talk about, oh, this guy different stylistic guy, you know, I need like couple months for training for this guy, how you can call yourself champion? If you're champion, if you wanna be champion, undisputed, undefeated, you have to can beat anybody. And you know why my nickname is Eagle? Because this area's name like Eagle area, you know, Цумадинский район. Потому что этот район называется Цумадинский район. Отсюда мое селение, Сельди, отсюда я родом. И когда американцы сказали, что у меня слишком большое имя, в 2012 году, когда я должен был драться в UFC, и им нужно какой-нибудь никнейм, что по этому никнейму меня запоминали, мы выбрали Орел, потому что я с Цумадинского района. С перевода на русский это означает Орлиный район.
Нашему селению в прошлом году шли, здесь копали дорогу, делали дорогу. Кувшин, который нашли, 830 лет этому кувшину. Получается, селение это 4-я точка на нашей земле, 4-е селение, где мы остановились, вот это селение. 88 на 28 ширина, площадка будет вот рухуа была. И было ход поворотки худо. Убасат атуат або тау гектар лашина площадки гибаки. Уба то раат вишка букарбачи. Электрический до тубабук, оно то тубана кацамбо. Но связь там есть. Оттуда можно говорить. Там есть такая лыжная площадка, большая территория, где эти все 11 селений собираются. Именно то площадка, там плато там, вот 3 гектара плато там есть. Таким уклоном.
Уже метрода за ним, да, получается?
Да, граница метрода. Именно там.
Вот. Америка салам бите. Абе, салам алейкум. Америка дабе, салам алейкум, Америка.
It's crazy because when you think about the kids, they have no fear of heights. This is all they know.
Brother, nobody, brother. It's not only heights, brother. Shamil house here, brother. Shamil house here. This one, they make something here. You understand, like fruit, like vegetables everywhere. There, they work there, living there. You understand? What's the name when you make what's the name? Like
farm?
Huh?
Farm?
Farm, yes, like farm. This one is new house. I'm gonna show you old house. Old house inside. We're gonna go inside. Only tough life, brother. What I can.
Съедобная трава. Да. Я детство вспоминаю, когда я.
When he eat this, his memories become about when he was like child, kid.
1,5 года уехал, 4 года обратно приехал на год я здесь. Я думаю, к этому времени деньги для нас не будут иметь значения. Я считаю, вот этот мир через окно, где я родился, эта история меня будет устраивать. Я знаю, что я смертный, все отхватить денег не смогу, но то, что сделал я историю для своей малой родины и России, и во всем мире для смешанного единоборства, я считаю, я сполна отдал себя. И мои воспитанники показали это. Я не буду об этом сожалеть. Ничего вечного нет.
Когда чеченцев переселили в 44-м, да?
42-м.
Не, в 44-м же переселили. Да. Когда чеченцев переселили в 44-м, нас переселили отсюда к чеченцам. И когда они приехали обратно, чеченцы, да, мы оставили дома, которые там 13 лет жили. наш духом, и все наше селение там жило. Мы приехали в 57 году обратно сюда, и в 57 году вот этот дом сделали. Здесь жили два родных брата, это мой дедушка и дедушка брат, и его дети. У каждого по 5 детей было. Короче, 12 человек здесь, и еще внизу здесь есть дом. Здесь жили, сейчас мы чуть ремонт здесь сделали, а так в этом доме родились и выросли, да, так скажем, мои отцы, точнее, мой отец, его братья, там, его отец. И вот, вся семья как бы вот в этом доме. С Нурмагомедовым.
Это даже наш родственник. Подожди, у него родственник, у него знаете, что было? Все время у него было мелочи. На чем надо было кино сходить? А эти мелочи никак у него не мог смотреть.
I found out that there are 600 million Muslims on the planet. What Jesus taught was good. What Moses taught was right. What Buddha taught was right. What Krishna taught was right. What Isaiah, Lot, Noah. God has always sent prophets to different people at different times with messages for those people. All of them are right. Jesus made a statement, I come not to destroy no law of the prophet, but to fulfill. All of God's prophets are right. You got to believe in all of them. So if a person follow Moses and live like Moses preached, if they follow Jesus, they follow Lot, any of the prophets. The religion is good, but the people do things in the name of the religion. A lot of Muslims do things they shouldn't do. A lot of Protestants, a lot of Buddhists, a lot of Hindus live like they shouldn't live. But the religion itself, the religion is right, but the people who follow religion ain't so right. So I choose to follow the Islamic path because I've never saw so much love. I never saw so many people hugging each other, kissing each other, praying 5 times a day. The women in the long garments, the way they would eat. You can go to any country, say assalamu alaikum, alaikum assalam. You got a home, you got a brother. I chose the Islamic path because it connected me.
Это почему именно здесь? Потому что раньше от Грузии, от Чечни, раньше даже до царских времен, видимо, бывали набеги. Вот для охраны села, это специально построили именно на этом горке. Почему? Потому что сильды это происходит от слова си, это башня. От слова си это башня. Вот оттуда и происходило слово сильды. Вот поднимите самую высокую крышу, можно увидеть со всех сторон, со 4 сторон, кто приезжает в селе, и чтобы охранять. Вот для этого и построили. И все улицы, которые люди проходили, они были сверху накрыты. И даже по селу, вот, когда снег, дождь шел, вообще по улицам ничего не было, ни снега, ни воды, ни гололеда, ничего. А все улицы были закрыты. Вот после того, как переехали в 42 или 43 год, что ли, в 46 году, переехали все на равнину Чеченская республика, Чеченская республика, Видинская равнина. Вот тогда, видимо, ее подожгли, и пришлось заново восстановить. Это было... Переселили. Переселили тогда. Вот. Опять, когда в 57-м, когда чеченцы начали возвращаться, видимо, они тоже захотели свое место, и наши все сельдинцы переехали больше половины сюда, больше половины в Кизюртовский район, Кирового.
Перешел, короче, на эту высоту, на Рохле-Борхахе. И вижу, что, как они говорили, ориентир на Игадах. Они уже, видимо, это все обошли, там кули, это был хакинский кули, там уже они, короче, это забрали у них все это. Шародин же знаешь ты все, да? Он сел на колени и прицелился уже на меня. Я иду, бегаю по этой вершине, да. А он подумал, что я их, да? Взял, прицелился. Твой отец Манап сказал, стой, это наш. А тогда он меня узнал.
You talk about sister, how his brother almost killed him. When new people coming, they try to smash, brother. Be careful. Stay close with me, brother. They try to smash, be careful. I took serious, brother. You know how? Because from house they can shoot something and left. My blood from here, brother. My blood. You never know what's gonna happen tomorrow. And you have to stay loyal all the time with your team, with your coaches, with everybody who close with you. You know, sometimes like when you win belt, with belt coming like a lot of attention, a lot of money, like crazy stuff, a lot of crazy stuff. And I don't want this belt change me. You know, I wanna stay focused. I wanna after Ramadan beginning training and come back this year and defend this title. You know, like I'm a little bit worried about this belt because sometimes you think, oh, now like you're UFC champion, like a lot of stuff, but I'm a little bit scared about this. I don't wanna change. I wanna be same Khabib, like before belt and after belt, and this is not about me. This is about all people around me.
This guy, brother. Incredible, eh? We're living together, 16 brothers. Yes, Shamil, him, but everybody like my older brothers. And we're living together with him. Before he's very good athlete, but now I can break him.
So what are the rules to the actual garb? How they supposed to wear it?
Yeah, so you have to cover everything except your face and your arms, your wrists, and that's it.
Solutions, humble and respectful, we cannot lie. Critique is striking, he's a stand-up guy.
Let's go, brother.
На английском поговори с ним.
Cover. That was put around his waist. Hello. Lemon made to the AK. My kids, he inspired to the hit to say, I hope I could be like Khabib one day. Just pray for his prayer.
Not 22 years old anymore.
Time for the eagle to feast. Time for the people that need Khabib. Time true champion to the people he be. It's a great time for the eagle to feast. Two times for the people that need Khabib. Time true champion to the people he be. It's a great one time for the eagle to feast. Two times for the people that need Khabib. A true champion to the people he be. It's a great KHKB. One time for the eagle to feast. Khabib time. Two times for the people that need Khabib time. True champion to the people he be. It's a great KHKB.
This guy crazy. You know, so many people from United States promise, oh, I'm gonna come Dagestan, but nobody show up. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Greetings, peace, love, and light, everyone all around the world. I pray everyone is well. I'm your brother Baraka Blue, and you are tuned in to the Global Muslim Film Festival brought to you by the Center for Global Muslim Life. And this particular episode is in collaboration with Path and Present Podcast, which is the podcast that we've been running for the last few years, showcasing spirituality in the modern world. I first of all just want to thank Center for Global Muslim Life for putting this film festival on. I was able to tune in yesterday to the film on Qawwali and the interview with Tahir Qawwal from Fanafillah, and I've been a fan of their work for a number of years, so that was beautiful to showcase that South Indian, that Indian and Pakistani tradition of Qawwali music. And I understand that on Friday, our friend and brother Preacher Mas and his comedy film will be shown. So there's a number of wonderful and beautiful films that are being showcased over the next few weeks. So please do check it out and follow the Center for Global Muslim Life, our brother Dagestan Chronicles, who is doing really good work. And the reality, as we all know, is that if you aren't telling your own stories, someone else will tell your stories. And they may not tell them how you would tell them. So this is a beautiful thing and a beautiful, important obligation actually for us, is to share our own narratives, especially as Muslims in the West who get a lot of different narratives told about them. So we're going to bring on the director of the Dagestan Chronicles, Will Harris. And
this is a beautiful, beautiful segue, in fact, because this is a narrative that has really not been told, right? Dagestan is a place that, in fact, many people didn't even know about until Khabib became this global icon. So he really is putting Dagestan on the map, and you have showcased this like perhaps nobody else. So first of all, welcome, Will. We're happy to have you.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam rahmatullah. So we're just going to jump right into it. The first question really I wanted to know is, tell us about the series Anatomy of Fighter. How did it come about? What was your intention with it? And then I'm really curious about how you met Khabib and how that relationship started.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. This is an honor. Like I said yesterday on my social media, when I went over to Dagestan, I would have never thought that people would have cared this much about that film, and it's been seen by 20+ millions people around the world. When it comes to the series, I started it 4 years ago. The idea was to do a documentary about fighters in South Florida. I knew a lot of MMA fighters that were down there training. So, as a creator, I just didn't have anything to do after a project that I had just did in China on some basketball players. And I was like, you know what, let me, parallel and segue to a new project, which would be telling stories about fighters. It was going to just be a small documentary, and I wanted to try to put it on some type of streaming platform like a Netflix or Amazon. And I spent about 3 to 4 months trying to find funding on doing this project, and I could never find it. But as I was going through all of the no's, I kept filming. I never stopped. I invested in myself. And then it got to a point where I had got so much footage. I said, you know what? I'm not going to even make it a documentary anymore. I'm just going to make it a series on Netflix. So that's what ended up happening. I mean, a series on YouTube. And that's what ended up happening. It was by mistake, honestly. So I think like that first year when I decided that I was going to do a YouTube series, I had met Khabib's manager, Ali Abdelaziz, who was living in Vegas at the time. And I was in Vegas for the summer. I met him, and I did some work on a couple of his fighters. And he had asked me one time that, did I know who Khabib was? And I really didn't know who he was. I heard of his name, and he just said, I think y'all guys will be a perfect fit. And he said, I'm going to set up an opportunity for you to meet him and film him to see if y'all could collaborate in the future, because I feel like the way you shoot and how you are, Khabib would like you. So that's what happened. That's how it all came about. And, the rest is history. Honestly, it's just so much to talk about when it comes to just how it came about. But I just feel like it was by design. Some other power was working, how we came together, and here we are.
MashaAllah. Yeah, so I mean, and the timing is particularly profound because you went to Dagestan and you made this series essentially just before Khabib fought Conor, like in the lead up to his fight with Conor, right? So that was when he really blew up as, he was already the champion, but that fight put him on the map as this global icon. So why don't we just jump into your time in Dagestan? And first of all, what was that like? And I can imagine that, friends and family back in the States were like, you going where? Wait, hold on. So I'd love to hear about that journey, that trip, and what the intention when you were going there was. Was it just, we're going to document Khabib in his natural habitat, or what was the idea?
Well, when Khabib won his belt against Ala Quinta in Brooklyn, that week he asked me, he just said, listen, I want you to come to Dagestan to film how I live, his family, his culture, his religion. I jumped at the opportunity and said yes right away. So once he won a belt and went back home, I wasn't thinking that he was going to call me or his manager was going to call me and say, hey, do you want to come to Dagestan? He called me like maybe 2 days before I left, 3 days. And he said, hey, you know, Khabib wants you to come for the end of Ramadan. Are you willing to come? I immediately went to a passport office to get a visa. Gave them my passport. They sent it to New York. I paid like $400. Immediately got it back in like a day or two and was on a plane and I was over there. So the idea when I went over there was to just be there at the last 10 days of Ramadan and really observe everything that was going on. I decided when I went over there that I was going to participate in the culture of Ramadan. It was my first time ever, and I wanted to really, you know, show people that experience through my eyes. And that's just the way my storytelling is that I try to show people the life of a fighter through the life of a fighter through the lens that I carry, because I try to not seem like I'm there. And I feel like I told you before I even came on when we talked earlier, it was a life-changing experience, not just because I filmed this amazing this imagery. It was because of what I was able to experience and go through myself. So I don't know. It's one of those trips and events that you go through in life that will change everything. So I just feel like it was just an amazing time.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I really, you know, you were truly an embedded correspondent, right? You were fasting, you were joining the prayers, and the last 10 days of Ramadan, you know, especially that is, you know, the holiest 10 days. And so it was beautiful to see in the mosque, the Taraweeh prayers, fasting, as well as Eid, the holidays. And there's so much that we could go into, but I think it's really important, you know, to mention that, as you know, and you saw in Dagestan as well, is that Khabib is really a global icon, especially for Muslims, in a way that really no one has been since Muhammad Ali, right? So he has this, and you see the UFC, right? Dana White's not stupid. He's figuring out how can we, you know, do these big events in the Middle East? How can we, you know? But one of the things that was powerful that you showed is what Khabib means in Dagestan. And you see the kids with the T-shirts, and you see that he's on billboards and things like that. So what does Khabib mean to the Dagestani people that you met? What did you come away feeling like his relationship to his people is there?
It was exactly like the effect that I see that Muhammad Ali has on the African-American community here in America. I feel like Khabib represents more than just what a fighter is. He embraces his religion and his culture to a fault. That's the most important thing to him. Family, religion, culture, Dagestan. Fighter is way below that. And I feel that when I saw how everyone else reacts to the presence of him, and even up until this time, it's Ali-like. I've never seen it. There's a lot of popular athletes and figures in the world that are very famous, but they're famous for the wrong reasons. Khabib, he don't carry himself around like a superstar, and I feel like that makes him even bigger to his people, because it's like they can touch him. You know, what's unique is like one of the most famous artists in our community ever was Tupac Shakur, right? Mm-hmm. The reason why he's so beloved to this day is because so many people have these personal experiences with him. Mm-hmm. Like they touched him, they can feel him. It wasn't like he was in his Eiffel Tower away from the people and he just came down during concerts and things like that. It's the same thing with Khabib. He is with his people. He loves connecting with his people. He loves expressing how important the Islam community is to him, his family, his culture, and he's not afraid to voice that. You saw that in the Conor McGregor fight when he was at the ceremonial weigh-ins and he was, Alhamdulillah, I know you don't like when I say these things. Mm-hmm. Like, he's not afraid to be himself, and I feel like that's just making his his star bigger. But when it comes to the essence of Dagestan, he's just a son of Dagestan. He's one of many that loves that place, right? And he has a platform, and he's using his platform to be able to show the rest of the world where he's from.
Yeah, that really comes out in the film, in your series, that he is a man of his people, and it's not about him, and it's really about everyone else. And you see that from the way they live to Eid. I mean, how many people did he visit that day, going to the family? So I wanna pick up that thread about Muhammad Ali. So maybe I'll frame it with two questions, because I know that Khabib has mentioned that one of his great heroes is Muhammad Ali. And you point out that Muhammad Ali was a hero for what he did in the ring, but he was much more a hero for what he did outside of the ring and what he represented to African-American people. And then globally, he became this global icon. Muslims also, like anywhere in the Muslim world, Muhammad Ali is, right? And so that's powerful. And like you said, it's so deep what you said about that people have these personal stories, right, for Tupac or for Khabib. And I mean, Muhammad Ali's funeral was amazing because all these people came out of the woodwork. It was almost like every single person on earth had a story like, oh, he went to my uncle's shop and he gave him a gift. Or when my cousin was sick, he went to the hospital. It's like, how could he be at all these places at the same time? So Muhammad Ali definitely had that, right? The people's champ. And you get that sense with Khabib. So maybe you would have like, you could share some of your own personal experience of how he relates to Muhammad Ali, or what inspiration he draws, or anything you've heard, because I know you included the quotes of Muhammad Ali in the film, and I thought that was powerful.
Like in episode 7 of the Dagestan Chronicles, when he went to visit the elderly man, right? And he was sick in bed and things like that. That is stuff that you rarely see. Those are one of those stories where, you know, in the future, you know, my grandfather was sick and he came in and paid his respects and spent time, you know. It's rare to get athletes like that, man. Trust me, I'm around, you know, being an athlete and being famous, and it's a very egotistical thing, right? You know, someone quoted recently, it was like, when these guys over there are calling you brother, that's a powerful thing, because they just don't call everybody brother, right? I just feel like looking at the history of like Ali and athletes that stood up for their, like, if you look at all of the most famous interviews outside of like fights with Ali, he always talking about the Muslim community, and he's talking about the Muslims around the world, right? And it wasn't that he was preaching. It feels like he was educating people. And with Khabib, I felt, and this is no disrespect to anyone in the media over here to the West, they was never doing a good job with really showing Khabib who he was. The only thing you knew was he was this undefeated wrestler that wrestled a bear when he was a kid, right? You didn't know who he was. So when I got the access, I wanted to show people who he was, not showing him in his gloriful moments of success and victory, right? I wanted to just show I wanted to rip off all of the layers that the media has of athletes and show you who he really was. And once I did that, he was able to be comfortable enough with me to open up and show me and show the world who he represents, who he is, who his family is, his relationship with his father, how important that was. I just feel like it's just a unique thing that happens once someone truly trusts you. And that's a line that is very thin, but at the same time, like, you have to respect it enough to gain that type of intimacy when it comes with fighters and people of importance. And I feel like I've done that over the past few years being around them.
Yeah, and I think it's a testament to you too as well that, you know, it's clear that he's not going to allow everyone any media person to just be around his family and his close circle, right? This is a person, they value family and this intimate circle. And so to kind of adopt you into that is a beautiful thing. And it's a testament to you also in your sincerity that he saw like, yeah, this is like you said, this is our brother. So that's really powerful. I think we're kind of touching on this, but I wanted to reflect and hear your thoughts on, you know, the martial arts are, you know, there's a great tradition in all these different places. And Dagestan has a long tradition, right? These are kind of like mountain warrior people. And like many traditions of martial arts, they're actually rooted in very spiritual principles, right? They're the outward aspect, but there's an inward code. There's an inward transformation. There's an ethic. There's something that one learns from facing an opponent, then reflecting that inwardly of facing your own self and overcoming your lower self. And this whole thing, which is very large in Islam, right? There's a story that the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was in a battle against those that were attacking and oppressing the early Muslim community. And he said to the community, after the war that they had won, he said, we're going from the lesser struggle to the greater struggle, right? The lesser war to the greater war. And his companion said, what do you mean the greater war? We just put our lives on the line on the battlefield. What could be greater than that? And he responded that the greater war, the greater battle is within each one of us, is overcoming our lower self, our ego impulses, our desire to oppress others or be more powerful than others. And once we check that, then we can truly be people that embody righteousness and goodness and love and light in this world. So I'm curious if you could reflect on not only Khabib, but just being in that environment where really it's like almost like from a young age, they come out of the womb wrestling each other, right? And everyone sees that element. They see the video of him wrestling a bear, but maybe you could reflect on how that ties into the broader kind of spiritual discipline that they have.
Well, it all starts with religion and then family. His father instilled those type of principles in so many of those men and young kids today in Dagestan. It's military mindset like when it comes to discipline over there. Those guys truly value routine and work ethic. Like I didn't see anybody lazy over there. You know, when we was driving around, everybody was this world-class wrestler. This guy competed in the judo games, and this guy is sambo champion, and this guy was in the Olympics. And it was like, I was like, every single person over here is a fighter, like everyone. And I felt like seeing like just the way these guys grew up. And then when I went to the mountains and Sildi, and it's just a different level of intellect that I feel like a lot of people can't relate to. Like, listen, I'm from a very impoverished community in Illinois, a small town, small city, if you call it 25,000 people, called Carbondale, Illinois. And I grew up in very meager circumstances where I've seen a lot of crime, a lot of violence. And it was very little opportunity for people to come out about that. Over here, we call that the hood, the ghetto, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can't compare to that type of upbringing over there, right? Like that's a different mindset, and I just feel like it's instilled in every single soul over there that these guys are fearless. They're fearless because they only fear one person, which is Allah. And over here, we don't have that type of discipline to follow any type of thing. And I feel like religion does that for a lot of people in the West. There's a lot of lost souls over here, but over there, everything is through routine and discipline. And I feel like I'm just like going through my head, like every single person you saw, from kid to adult, it was like everybody followed a pattern, whether it was praying and prayer and eating, and it was remarkable, man. Like I said, it was life changing. Like even watching the clips when y'all was showing them back, it brought back so many memories because I'm like, I really did do that. Like that was unique.
Mashallah. No, you did it, man, and it was beautiful. And I relate to what you're saying too, because I've lived, you know, in many places in the Muslim world, and many of these places which are in many ways, you know, like I've lived in Yemen, I've lived in Egypt, I've lived in Jordan, Morocco, I lived in Indonesia. And there's certain places that it's like you're not just getting on a plane and going to a different place on earth. You're getting on a plane and going to a different time in human history, right? You feel like you're going back in time, like a time machine. And as you mentioned, there's many people that, you know, are committed to a specific religion or spiritual path here in the West, but it's different when you're in a kind of pre-modern society where the whole society is on the same path. It's like you can like, there's a powerful reality when everyone is praying the same, fasting the same. There's something that transforms one. And here in the kind of modern secular West, even if you do have your own path, it's a very individual thing. So I think you show that really powerfully. Now, you talked about one thing, you touched on it, and that is Khabib's father. And so I'd love to hear you speak about his father, his relationship with his father, but also who his father means in broader Dagestan, and then generally just elders, because you have this sense of Khabib who, like you mentioned, he's not scared of anyone but Allah and his father, right? If his father says it, like restraint, you know, even after he jumped on the cage and threw down, he was like, I think my father is not going to be happy with me. And that was powerful. That was his only concern about repercussions. He was like, I don't care if I go to jail. I don't care if I never fight again. But my father, now that's what I'm concerned about. So maybe you could share about that.
Yeah, when I went over there for the first time, that is when I met Abdul Manap, Khabib's father. Right off the bat, you just saw the respect level. You saw Khabib shrink when he amongst his father's presence, because that's the respect level, right? Everybody did though. It was sort of like he was. I wouldn't say like nothing political in the sense of like a president, but it's king-like. His energy, his voice, how he demands things, and how people respect it and how they talk. It's like royal. He's like royalty over there, Abdul Manap. So I feel like getting to know Khabib all these years and how much he talks about his father and how important it is, and even his grandfather that, you know, who passed away last year, and I'm sad about that. But I feel Abdul Manap represents, like, put it like this. They will build a statue of him before they do Khabib. You see what I'm saying? So it's a country, it's a part of a world that he is super respected in. And I feel like because of his unfortunate, you know, sickness right now and how he's feeling, the world is starting to understand how important he is to that community and that part of the world. And I feel like I am so happy that I was able and have been able to document that relationship, and then the other relationships that Abdul Manap has with people, and getting them to express how important he is to them. And I feel like from this part of the world, they're being able to see it through my series.
So he's really trained. For those that don't know, he's really trained like generations of fighters, right? All those fighters in Dagestan, they all came through him. He's kind of like that. And then also you mentioned his sickness. For those that don't know, and I don't know the details, I just heard that he had the coronavirus and then he's in the hospital. And I heard that Khabib said in an interview that a number of his family and friends. So I don't know if you have more of an update on that you could share as well.
No, I don't actually. It's one of those things where I just send my prayers and wishes, right? Death is a reality that we all will face at one point or another, young, old, sickness, whatever. But it's right now in this time, I've just been able to respect people's privacy because obviously I have a very close relationship with Khabib and his family, but not to the point where I dig and pry about what's going on. So I don't even really know what's going on with his father other than everything else I hear. And I'm just sitting here hoping that everything turns out for the best, you know? So.
I mean, we pray that. We pray that's the case. You mentioned the Conor fight, and, you know, I think that there were many people I know, Muslims all around the world, were watching that fight, feeling that, you know, it was something bigger than just a fight. And partially that's because Conor was insulting Khabib's religion, his culture, mentioning family, getting very personal. And you see in that exchange and in that fight in particular, I mean, we all know Conor's a showman, right? And he's going to sell a fight, and that's why he is who he is. And Khabib is like the opposite, very soft-spoken, right? He lets his fighting do the talking. And you see in that fight when Khabib is really choking out and beating up Conor, and Conor says to him, you know, something at the end of the round, like, it's only show business or it's only a game, right? Because for him, but for Khabib, this is not a game. This is, and that is, of course, what indicates jumping over the fence, and then all of his Dagestani brothers just like, let's go. So I don't know if you had any thoughts about that, or because I think it's really powerful. And I think, like you said about Muhammad Ali to Black people in America, it wasn't just a man fighting. It was a representation of the people fighting. And so everyone is tied up in that his victory is our victory. And I think Muslims globally feel that with Khabib.
Once Conor took the tactics towards religion, his country, trying to create division amongst his people, political, talked about his wife, talked about his brothers. That is a line that, like, you don't cross with people that are very loyal to and to their beliefs. Certain people act a certain way for money. I mean, Khabib could be worth $1 trillion and he's still going to act the same. I truly know that. The same as if he had $0. That wasn't a game for Khabib. Like, it was not something that you just brush off after a fight. You know, in sports, there's a lot of trash talk, and then there's still respect after the fight, where it's more of, you know, I respect you now more. Like, no, you took it that way, and it's going to stay that way. And I feel like, imagine you as a person, anybody that's going to ever hear this, imagine someone talk about your family, your father, your wife, your religion, and your country. No one can just say it's only business or it's the show business. We know how a person is. He always talks. It's like, no, this is not a game. So I feel like, in my opinion, Conor is lucky that the ref stopped the fight when he did, because I feel like that squeeze to that neck crank was going to try to pop his head off. You see what I'm saying? And it's not because Khabib hated Conor. It was the fact that you truly disrespected something that's so important to me. It's sort of like you have a kid, right? And you find out somebody put their hands on your kids. And that's not comparing to that or to religion. Just the amount of anger that would happen if you knew, like, someone put their hands physically on your child, right? That wasn't anyone of kin. that's something you can never forgive anyone. And I feel like me being a guy that is a storyteller and a filmmaker, and you want to be biased and you want to just tell a story and stay away from the carnage and the BS of it all, that's something that was even personal to me, right? Especially when you are invited to this person's world, his culture, his religion, and he lets you see it to the core, and then you see it disrespected. You don't just say, yeah, man, I'm just a filmmaker, I'm just gonna stay out of the way. It's like you that angry too. So it's definitely something that was personal to him, and it still is.
Yeah, that's interesting, man. And you know, I think some people were, you know, upset with the fact that Khabib did that after the fight, etc. But I think by and large, because of his character and because people know who he is, that UFC fans actually gained a deeper level of respect for him, because they saw like this, he's not a bully. He's the opposite of a bully. But you cross a line and there's no fear that he doesn't, the repercussions, he's not thinking about that. And I think that's another kind of broader piece that's interesting about Khabib, is that, you know, you are behind the scenes with a lot of UFC, right? You've been embedded with these different fighters. You've seen behind the curtain. I'm sure you've been around all these things. And, you know, a lot of kind of UFC fans, they tend to be, right, beer drinking, some MAGA hat wearing, right? You know, it's no secret that Dana White is close with Trump, etc. But yet you're seeing when Khabib fights, all these people chanting Alhamdulillah, right? So again, that Khabib is having this effect, even just because people are seeing he's real. And even if you know, that's one of the things about Americans too. It's like that people who draw the line and say, you're going to respect me, you're going to respect my religion, you're going to respect my way of life. That's a very American thing too, right? So I don't know if you have any thoughts on just how Khabib is even affecting the culture or the UFC audience in that sense.
Well, it's definitely helping. Obviously, the sport is very young, 25 years old, 26 years old. The fan base is young, right? I would say that the fan base is similar to the WWE fan base. So in the sense that, you know, a lot of these fans look at these guys as characters, like they're superheroes to them. So sometimes the line is, you know, crossed to where they forget that these people are real people. So Conor obviously is the most popular fighter in the sport, you know, and Khabib is after that. So he has a bigger fan base than Khabib. So if Conor says something stupid, their fan base repeats it, and it can get nasty. But I feel like the respect level for Khabib as a fighter is there. I just feel like in this crazy time we live in this social media world where everything is viral and everything is cool, people can still be insensitive to things. And I feel like things are here today and gone tomorrow. But what isn't is true storytelling and true stories about and true documentation of who these guys are. Regardless of whatever happens with Khabib, how much longer he fights or anything, those memories and those events are documented for life, right? So I feel like the fan base, whether they are for or against someone, at the end of the day, they're going to be able to process it all when these guys are gone. More importantly, we all know in sports that fans truly don't appreciate athletes until they're gone, right? Because they can look back on their career. Right now, they're, you know, they still have this love for this person or that person they never can really appreciate. I've never seen it in any other sport the way the MMA fan base is, where you pick a side and you stay there, right? And if that guy loses, then they tend to turn their back even on that person. So it's a unique fan base. And I'm just glad Khabib hasn't changed as his popularity has changed, as his star has gotten brighter. He's still the same old person.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I think, you know, you show that, and I think you're right, man, documenting these things. And you could tell he's concerned with legacy. And I'm really curious what that will be. And I'm curious how the next generation of Dagestani fighters, because he's like the first, but there's a lot of, up and coming, that whole scene. So that'll be interesting to see. We kind of touched on it, but especially because of the present moment we're in with the kind of unrest after another murder of a black man at the hands of the police here in America, in Minneapolis. I wanted to ask a question about your experience of Dagestan as a Black American man. And part of this is, I'm thinking of two individuals that talked about their travels and how it changed them. So the first was James Baldwin. You know, he lived for a time in Turkey, in Istanbul. And he said the reason that he loved Turkey was because it allowed him to escape from just being a black man in America, because the Turks didn't have a sense of race in the same way. They just didn't even, it was just the Turks. So they were like, okay, here's someone from somewhere else. They didn't, and he was able to be free of that. And of course, Malcolm X also talks about when he traveled and when he went to Mecca and Medina on the pilgrimage, and he had people with blue eyes and blonde hair feeding him with their hands and loving him as a brother. And he was like, I didn't even know this was possible, right? And that, you know, he wrote obviously these very powerful letters from Mecca about that experience. So I'm curious how the Dagestanis interacted with you as a black man from America. Any thoughts you have about that?
Much love to Malcolm X. By the way, we share the same birthday, May 19th. Yeah. Honestly, what you said is perfect. Obviously, in America, racism and division is something that is prevalent. It's, I think, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar said it, you know, today in a quote where racism is like this invisible dust that is everywhere until the sun hits it and you can see it, right? I've lived in Greece, Italy, Australia, Asia. I've traveled all over the world. And I tell people the same thing. Listen, anytime I go outside of the country, yes, people know that I'm a black man. They see it. I'm a 6'5" black man. They notice a difference. But I never feel race. I did not feel race 1 second when I was in Dagestan. Not at all, from the elders to the youth. You know, obviously it was people there that never really seen black people. And Khabib told me that like a couple times where he was laughing, like, brother, they've never seen your black people in person. They only seen them on TV. So that was kind of funny. But other than that, no. I mean, you know, it was weird because, you know, a lot of the comments I got when I came back was the women. Where was the women? Where was the women? And I was just like, I've seen plenty of women, but you don't film women. That's disrespectful, and that's not what you do. And even in that sense, I didn't feel like people looked at me like I was crazy. Everything was accepting. I met high-ranking officials to fighters, and everybody wanted to take a picture. Everybody wanted to, you come sit with me at the dinner table when we went to restaurants, and people wanted to shake my hands. People with limited English tried their hardest to talk to me in English by saying things like thank you and welcome. And I did the same thing, trying to learn their language, especially the Avar language. And yeah, I honestly, when me and Khabib and the rest of his team went to Abu Dhabi, when we was in Dubai, you know, I didn't feel it. You know, like I was telling y'all earlier, Khabib went to the World Cup for a couple days. When I was there, I was by myself with other people from Dagestan, and we went out, we ate, we enjoyed ourselves. I filmed. I was on the streets by myself filming stuff, like I didn't feel it. So it's amazing when you come back here, because obviously I know everybody in America, maybe it's probably a small percent, 0.9, 1% of people with prejudice and things like that. Who knows, or maybe more. But you know, I get in a cop car. I mean, I get in a car and a cop car is behind me, and you still feel that kind of monkey on your back. And I feel like when I was over there, you didn't experience stuff like that. Or you know what? You just forget about it. You're not even thinking about it. That's a beautiful thing. And I think it's like when you land back on the soil, you start thinking about that type of stuff. And that's crazy to me. It really is crazy. And it's honestly sad that I dug up quotes from the 50s and 60s in the last few days talking about the exact same thing, right? So that's sad, but that's the beauty about, you know who Chuck D is, right? Obviously, you know who Chuck D is. He said one of the best quotes, and I can't tell you where it was from, like when it was an interview or maybe something, but he said the best thing that an African-American male could do in the country is buy a passport. Because you can leave this country and go be treated like you're worth somewhere else, right? So it's an amazing time that we live in, man. But I will say that my experience over there, I didn't experience none of that type of stuff.
That's beautiful, man. No, that's real. So we'll wrap soon, but there was I want to have you share what you're going to be working on in the future. But then one question before that, I saw on a lot of the, a few times it came up in your series, there would be these big posters of Imam Shamil, right? For those that don't know, right, he's wearing like the big black hat, you know, and he has the huge beard, and he's, you know, he was there he goes right there. So he was the Imam of Dagestan, the third in the Caucasian imamate. I mean, that's the funniest thing, right? You were with the real Caucasians, right? Those are the true Caucasians. But you know, from Chechnya and Dagestan, what's interesting is basically these were people that the Russians came and colonized them. I mean, these are like the indigenous Caucasian tribal peoples that were then colonized by the Russians and fought back. So I don't know because that's the thing that I think a lot of people don't realize is that there's this long history. And also, by the way, Imam Shamil was a sheikh in the Naqshbandi Sufi order. So talk about spirituality, right? He was a mystic Sufi sheikh who also, you know, took up arms against this occupying power. But I don't know if Khabib got into that or you saw that there. I'm interested if you had any reflections on the kind of history and how that plays into the consciousness of the people.
Oh, listen, if I'm blessed enough to be a part of a life story documentary on Khabib's life, that is a vital piece of history that we would tell in the story. Every image you saw of him in that series was by design. Khabib stopped, filmed him, put him there. That one. And when he told me the story of who that was, and I did my own research and saw what kind of warrior, how he fought, and you know, with his small army. I'm like, how is that not even a heroic Hollywood movie? You see what I'm saying? He's so special to that place, and I feel like, you know, I don't know if it's factual, but it's like the bloodline of Khabib is within him, right? They're related in some way, but I do know that Khabib truly, truly respects that man and wanted me to capture him at every chance I got.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Well, yeah, man, I want to thank you on behalf of everybody, you know, for documenting this and showing this. And, you know, I hope it's just the beginning, man, because I think, you know, there's the fights, which is beautiful, but what is really powerful is knowing the story behind the fighter. And Khabib has such a powerful story, and it's not, and what's so powerful about it is not just him, it's a story of his people, and it's the story of this struggle. And I think, again, to tie it back in with Muhammad Ali, and I think that's why it's so powerful that you had Muhammad Ali's voice in this series, is it's the same thing with Muhammad Ali. He wasn't fighting for himself. He was fighting for a people and a struggle for dignity and justice that had been going on for hundreds of years. So there's these really interesting parallels there. So thank you for documenting that, and I hope we can document more. I'm hoping that this story, this is just the beginning. But towards that end, before we close, I want to have you mention one, like what you got going as far as upcoming projects and that you're working on, and then two, let people know where they can follow up and find your work more generally.
I'm on 6%, but right now, man, I'm just I'm observing the nation. I'm observing what's going on. Honestly, I'll be selfish in a sense of complaining every day about, I want to film. I wish I was making money. I wish I could be out there filming fighters and telling more stories, but it's people in way worse positions than me that are losing everything. I have a brand, I have an identity, and I know I'll bounce back regardless. So for me, man, Anatomy of a Fighter, I have some huge plans coming up in the future. I really want to build this platform to a scope of a worldwide spectrum, to where it's a platform where obviously I can get off of the YouTube narrative and get into a bigger audience, because I feel like these fighters deserve to be seen by the world. And I think, you know, I won't be a part of this sport forever, because that was never my intention. But the relationships will be there forever. But before I leave this sport, I need to leave a legacy behind that has built the story of these fighters even larger past who they are inside the octagon or a boxing ring. So I'm just waiting for the world to open up, man. And once it is, and it does, I'm going to jet out those gates like a greyhound and really catch up on lost time. So you know, it's been a lot of time to reflect on who I am as a person and what I truly want to be in the next phase of what this series is. And, you know, hopefully I continue to build upon that with the relationships that I have, and form new relationships with other fighters that fit the narrative of what I'm trying to do with this series, which is tell true, intimate stories of fighters' lives and stay away from the drama and the BS that comes with it.
Beautiful, man. Well, thank you for sharing with us. Thank you for sharing your time with us. And we wish you all the best. Everybody go check out Anatomy of a Fighter. Check out the series. And we look forward to seeing where it goes from here.
I appreciate it, man. Yes, Anatomy of a Fighter on YouTube. If you want to follow me on Instagram, it's @WillHarrisProductions. I appreciate a subscriber just as much as anything. That's the way we're going to build the series and continue to build the bigger platform for the fighters. So I'm just one man right now. You know, I've spent the last 4 years of my life investing in myself to get to this point. And you know, I take pride in that. You know, no handouts. And I did it the old fashioned way, the American way, as they say. And now it's time to, you know, create a bigger platform for these fighters. And I appreciate y'all having me on. It's a blessing. And, you know, God bless y'all. And hopefully this is something that y'all continue to do years after years. And who knows, maybe it's another Muslim film that I do. I have something huge in mind that I'm planning that I can't really talk about, that involves an athlete that's not a fighter. But if I could do that, that'd be like a dream story. Maybe we can talk about that off the phone. But
inshallah. Yeah, man, that'd be good. I also think it'd be really interesting there should be some showcase of Faraz Zahabi, who's like the trainer of all trainers, and really a profound Muslim thinker, philosopher as well. He's someone I also want to interview. Yeah. So I pray that will happen. Yeah, man, I want to encourage everybody to follow Will Harris, follow Anatomy of a Fighter on YouTube, and also follow the Center for Global Muslim Life as this Global Muslim Film Festival continues over the next few weeks. And I think we'll close in the words of Khabib, Alhamdulillah. All right, bro. Salam alaikum.